I mean, it really starts, and the word bridge comes from bridging isolation. And it starts with a pastor who's retired and, in fact, dealing with his own difficulties of the stress of pastoring for many years and trying to find a new way that he can use his gifts to share with other people. And through his own depression, he begins to realize what it is to be isolated and what it is to be different, and recognizes there's a whole world of people who long before his temporary disability have lived with lifelong disabilities and lifelong isolation. And so he starts to reach out, and here in the state of Washington, like many states, in the 40s and 50s, if the child was born with a disability, the doctors or the pastor or whatever would often say to the parents, the state will take care of your child. We'll institutionalize them. Of course, they called them schools, but it was an institution. And so, years ago, the state had 5 institutions, schools for special needs. And a lot of those folks in those institutions had lived and had been separated from their families for decades. And so he started going to the institutions and simply visiting, being present, being in relationship with people, and discovering these people were often more injured by the isolation than the limitations they had in their disabilities, whether intellectual or physical or a combination of the both. So that's what Bridge was born from, this idea to try and bridge this isolation, find a way to get these people out of these institutions for visits into church groups or whatever, because churches have facilities and churches can throw a celebration or a dinner, and just create these opportunities to get out. Still today, one of our main service offerings to people are what we call a Sunday celebration. Every month in a different facility, sometimes in churches, but the next one this Sunday is actually in a park. It's a picnic. Is a gathering of people sponsored by a church group, by the congregation. They'll host a dinner. This Sunday it'll be hot dogs and hamburgers out on the grill, and bring along some entertainment and have some crafts to do perhaps. We always celebrate birthdays. We have a cloth birthday cake that you sit on your head. It's a hat. And everybody's had a birthday that month. We sing happy birthday. Some months, I think it's June, we have about 27 birthdays we sing through. Long chorus. But in any case, it's just the idea of celebrating life together. And most of these people now, a good thing is they're not in institutions anymore. They've moved out into the community. The state has now provided opportunities for them to live in group homes or independent living, to get the care they need in their homes rather than in institutional living. But they still end up being isolated in those homes. And so they need a place to go where they're welcome, a place that cares about them, a place that accommodates them. When you talk about accommodations in a church building, sometimes our churches are 50 years old and never even thought about ADA and ramps and wide enough doorways. So sometimes finding a church that can actually house one of our events is sometimes a challenge. But being able to do that was the first mission of Bridge, to bridge isolation and connect people spiritually with groups that would receive them, care about them, and accept them for who they are and simply be in a relationship. And allow them, it's often amazing to see so many people as they're getting off the access buses waving at someone that they were in institution with years ago and remembering that friendship and connecting and bonding. And maybe they were at Special Olympics together and they share their medal they won this year, or these kinds of things. So just having this opportunity for a place to go that's available, welcoming, accessible, and there for them. And making the accommodations to be there 3 hours early, so when the access van gets there really, really early, the doors are open, and when the access van leaves really, really late, we stay with them until they're on their bus and make sure they get home. So it's those kinds of things. Along the way, the mobility thing was kind of an accident. You had a volunteer at one of the churches that saw a broken wheelchair and said, well, I can fix that. Started in his garage. Harry Woodrow started in his garage fixing wheelchairs, getting some neighbors to help him, calling people, do you have wheelchairs to donate? Take them, fix them up, give them away. moved into a larger facility. Originally, the facility was a little shack off next to an office with a container where we stored the stuff. Then a bigger building, and 4 years ago we moved here and set up this center. And then this is the first center that was designed to be a recycle reuse center, specifically for that purpose, with high ceilings and garage door access and ability to set up workbenches, storage room, parts room, the Costco-style shelving that we can get more use of the floor space, and designed by the fellow we've named the center after, Bob Meyer, who had many years of production experience and designed this center around a production facility, taking things in, cleaning, assessing, repairing, and distributing. We moved here 4.5 years ago. Prior to that, I think our best year was about $400,000 worth of equipment distribution in a year. Last year, more than double that, 1.1 million. This year, the first 6 months, we've already done 650,000. That means we're going to go 20% more again this year. More volunteers. You know, there's one paid person, 32 hours a week. That's Jerry. All the rest of the folks are volunteers. Some of them have been doing it for 20 years. Some of them, you know, come for the summer. They're gone. New folks come and go. So it's all different kinds of folks doing all kinds of things. And you know, the other ministry we have is also part of that reaching into the institution. As we were visiting the institution and participating with them, we were approached by one of the teachers there, / social worker, that the state would allow people to leave the institution if they had a guardian. These people had no family members anymore, no one to accept responsibility to guide their life or assist with their life decisions in an independent living. They needed a guardian, and they asked us to take that on, and some 20 years ago we did, and today we're guardians for 38 people who don't have families or any other individual who could step up and care for them. They're on public assistance, so they have meager incomes, but they can live independently with the appropriate in-house caregiving they need or other kinds of programs to support them. But we provide the oversight for their finances, help them with medical decisions, help them with job opportunities and those kinds of things. And that's a growing part of our ministry as well. So we're kind of a mixed blend of ministry that is spiritual and caring and relationship, and that's kind of the center of it. And then we have this very legal, complex, court-mandated and supervised guardianship program. And of course here we have mechanics, wheels and gears and levers. So it's the physical, mechanical, the legal, and the spiritual all tied into this one ministry called Bridge.